Hey everyone, and welcome back to another portfolio update for you today. So over the past week, the couch investing portfolio went up by 3.77%, whereas the S&P 500 was up about 8%. Year to date, we are up 55.87%, whereas the S&P 500 is up 13.24%, and since the start of the portfolio, we're up 148.85%, whereas the S&P is up 33.61%. And so in today's video, we're going to go over some market data, some sentiment around the market as well, the probability of the next rate cut, some other interesting news regarding companies that we own in the portfolio, and maybe some of them that we do not own in the portfolio just yet. And then I will talk about Micron, because Micron is the only company in the portfolio that is yet to report its quarterly figures. They will do so on September 23rd. Now, a quick update here on a couple of things. Well, first of all, if you missed it, I did sell half of my Intel call options for a nice little profit over the last couple of days. I do still hold my BMNR position, 169 shares. As for the rest, the companies in the speculative portfolio, although those companies are less speculative right now, but there still is open door. So I still have all my shares of Iron, CoreWeave, Applied Digital, and now I still have 500 shares of open door. And that's about it. Nothing changes there. If we look at the other options plays, these are still there. So Enphase is still there, still down. Intel, I still have 22 call options. January 2027, $30 strike price, up 205% on those. Thank you very much. We have here January, well, then we have the PayPal's one. So PayPal, I have a very, very small bet here on the January 2026 $100 strike price. We have March 2026, also $100 strike price. Then June 2026, same strike price. These are actually doing quite well so far. And then we have January 2027, $120 strike price. These are down to flat right now. I'm still very bullish on PayPal. I actually still hold some shares of PayPal as well. We will have Amir come on the channel and discuss the whole thesis behind PayPal. I think this will work out. Maybe not the January one, but you never know. Of course, with call options, you are playing here with time. Then, as for the portfolio, not much has changed. Not much has changed since the last week. SoFi is still number one here. We're actually closing in on $30. That's quite crazy and amazing. Nebius closing back to $100 here at $99.31. Alphabet, $254. Incredible performance by, of course, the top three holdings right now in the portfolio. Then we have Micron. Micron has been on a little run in the last couple of weeks. Of course, they're yet to report their quarterly figures, so it can drop or it can continue to go up. I will touch on that in a bit. Rocket Lab, still under $50. I will probably start to average up in the next coming days. Duocon is almost at $15. I will play the clip now. I will play the clip of Pedro that I didn't put in the last video. So here it is.
Los mercados financieros son extremadamente eficientes en el corto plazo. Donde creo que se genera muchísimo valor es en el largo plazo y sobre todo en tecnología. Entonces, si vos mirás los outsized returns, nunca son de que compraste Amazon en el 2000 y vendiste en el 2002, o compraste Mercado Libre en el 2009 y vendiste en el 2011, o Nu en el 2017. Los outsized returns son cuando tenés convicción en la tesis tecnológica, te gusta el equipo, te gusta el mercado y comprás Amazon en el 2000 y mirás en el 2025 y hizo 100x, no sé. Con lo cual, ahí es donde la tesis del sur global para mí es tan potente. Vos hablás ahora con cualquier inversión y el pesimismo que hay alrededor de Brasil o la preocupación que hay con México es gigante. Sí. Hasta te llama la atención. Claro, pero están mirando el 2025 porque ese es su mandato. Cuando decís, pero pará, yo no juego esto al 25, yo juego esto al 30, al 35, al 40, el sur global es donde están las grandes oportunidades.
Yes, it is in Spanish, but it had subtitles. I just wanted to show you this little clip because it was not in the video previously, so here it was. Still very bullish on the local, and here as well I will continue to accumulate more and more shares along the way. Alibaba doing very well here, up almost 80% on that. AMD took a small hit, right, intra-week after that Intel Nvidia news. Then it did rebound a little bit, so we're back at $157. Then we've got Uber. Uber is making its way back to try and go above $100. We do have some Lyft news that did impact Uber a little bit. We'll touch on that. Meta Connect, Duocon was out there as well. The stock did drop, but then recovered, so we closed out the week at $290. I'm still down on that, 15.3%. Still have a small PayPal shares position here, up 11.3% on that. Then Oscar, Cash, United Health, Upsellera, 3 shares of Nvidia, 1 share of Palantir. Now, did I buy anything over the last couple of weeks? Yes, I mean the last buy was Oscar and Nebius, but I did cover that already. Did add Rubrik to the watch list at $77.68. It did close the week at $80. I did talk about Rubrik, Shift4, and Sezzle in a video. Those are the 3 companies that I'm looking to maybe add to the portfolio. Maybe. Right now, it didn't happen. By the way, for those that are following the portfolio, I will be updating you in the community tab when it comes to the options play, because the options is not in this portfolio. Now, as for Micron had an analyst conference around a month or so ago, and they also, of course, updated us on their guidance. So fiscal Q4 revenue guidance updated to $11.2 billion plus minus $100 million. That's up from $10.7 billion. Gross margin updated to 44.5%, up from 42%. And then non-GAAP EPS guidance updated to $2.85, up from $2.50. They talked also about the, HBM4. So they said the following thing. Looking ahead, Micron has sampled HBM4 and is confident in selling out its calendar year 2026 HBM supply. Of course, with the recent reports that came out over the last couple of weeks and months, we will want to get more confirmation about HBM4, HBM4E during the call, what exactly is going on there. So we'll have to wait a couple of days, but all in all, momentum is definitely with Micron, the company, and the stock. This is a company worth $182.1 billion. Year to date has been performing very well, as you can see right here. Stock is up 85.5%. Oh, and for those that are new here and don't understand why I have different types of portfolios, it's very simple. It's in order for me not to do stupid things with the core portfolio. That's it. Because if I start having all my small bets and gambles and whatnot, all of it in one portfolio, then I might do something stupid with the other positions. Whether something works out or doesn't work out, if everything's in one portfolio, you might start to click on, oh, actually, maybe we should be selling some shares here to add to that one because that didn't work out. It's just to make my investing life easier. You separate the trash from the treasure. Okay, trash might be a bit too much, but you separate the serious stuff from the less serious stuff in order for you not to be, making stupid mistakes. I highly suggest you do the same thing. But, okay. Anyways, looking at some market data. S&P 500 after RSI is above 45 for 102 consecutive days. Unfortunately, the odds are not in our favor here. So we might get a little pullback. Remember, September was supposed to be a very bad month. Well, currently that's not the case. But anyways, with the data that we can work here with, we can see that a day later, 2 days later, the odds are not in our favor. And unfortunately, 2 weeks later, the amount of times that the S&P was positive was literally 0%. And on average, it was down 2.17%. Now, just like a couple of months ago, there was 100% of the time we were green after XYZ happened. We were that, 0% that turned now into maybe 0.1% or whatnot of us being down. So here, 2 weeks later, always red. Could we be the one that finishes green? Maybe. But the odds here, again, are not in our favor. And then if we combine that with the fear and greed index, although this thing to me is pure BS, because sometimes, like when we have 1 or 2 red days, this thing suddenly turns into fear. I'm like, what? We've just had 2 months of green and 2 days of red and suddenly it turns into fear. It makes no sense. Anyways, right now we are greed. I would even say maybe even extreme greed. But okay, looking at the US dollar. The US dollar now is at a crucial point. It's trying to stay above that support line that it has been respecting for the last, 13, 14 years or so. Now, as you know, and plenty of you are actually outside the United States. So if you're in euros, of course, your euros are now able to buy more dollars, which means that with a couple of euros, you can be buying more US shares. Of course, if your portfolio is full of US shares, US stocks, then if you sell those and you sell those back into euros, you would of course be on the losing end, because euro dollar, since the start of the year, the euro has become much stronger than the dollar. But to me, I have no intentions of selling my US stocks for euros anytime soon. I do have intentions of using my euros and buying more US stocks. As for gold, gold had its, highest weekly close ever, 3,705. Congrats. Then looking at the probability of a October cut, 25 basis points, sits at 91.9%, which is of course higher than where it was a month ago. Are we surprised? Not really, especially not after the latest Fed meeting and the comments from Jerome Powell. Then, looking at something that's maybe less exciting, and that's the US underemployment rate that surged to 8.1%. So the underemployment rate refers to the condition of being employed in a job that is either part-time, when full-time work is desired, doesn't fully utilize a person's skill and qualifications, or provides insufficient income to meet economic needs. And unfortunately, with AI, with automations and robots and all of that, I don't see how this thing comes back down rapidly anytime soon. But I might be wrong, but yeah, I just don't see how that happens. You could look at the other side of the coin and say, but maybe in the future you could be owning a robot and that robot does chores for you, frees up your time, and you will be able to do something else with your time in order to make more money. Yeah, maybe, but that's maybe far-fetched. Moving on to Duocon. So Duocon happened this week, and they did talk a little bit about new features, new things that they're working on. They did say that they have 130 million users, which is a bit higher than the last number that we've got. And they said that 10% of those users are paying. Well, they said 90% are using it for free. So 10% are paying. But other than that, not much was shared. Yes, we had that LinkedIn thing and some new scoring system. The new scoring system might actually be a good thing, because it would show users and maybe those that want to use that, okay, this is his level of proficiency in French, in German, in whatever language. So at least you have a score that actually reflects how good you are in a certain language, maybe in the future in music, chess, math, etc., etc. Because right now, what do we have? Yeah, we have a small scoring system. You have your streak. But like I said, you can have a 1,000-day streak. That doesn't mean that you learned anything, right? Because to have your streak survive, you just have to log in each and every day, 1, 2, 3 minutes, and you're done. If you really want to learn something, you have to spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even more, every single day and actually learn something. Keeping the streak alive does not equal learning a new language or learning music or chess or whatever, just so we're clear. So yeah, the event was a bit underwhelming. The stock was under pressure. Stock did rebound a little bit. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Moving on to Rubrik and Shift4, those are the two companies that did feature in Saturday's videos. It's very interesting, okay? Yes, Rubrik will give me now exposure, pure exposure to the cybersecurity space, which is something that I don't directly have in my portfolio, and Shift4 will just add more fintech payments exposure to my portfolio. Rubrik is a bit bigger than Shift4 market cap wise, but not that much bigger, right? Both of them are playing a very, very big market. Both of them are still small enough companies to have that multi-bagger potential. And so right now, these are still not in my portfolio because I know I've had plenty questions, still not in my portfolio. If they will enter my portfolio, I'll let you know before they do. Moving on to Meta. As you know, I'm a big Meta shareholder. In my retirement portfolio, Meta is the number one position actually right now. So Meta Connect happened, and you might say it was a big fail because of the failed live demos. Yeah, okay, it's true that I would have loved to see the live demos be successful, but the fact that they did try it time and time again to show us live how these new technologies and hardware tech work, to me is a good thing. Is a good thing and shows me that they're not afraid to fail. Plus, remember, these are the Orion ones. These were prototype glasses that they showed us a year ago. Well, less than a year ago. So fast forward to today, we actually have functioning AR glasses with haptic feedback wristband, which worked quite well actually during those live demos. To me, this was another good event that shows that Meta is not afraid to try new things. Meta is not afraid to fail, and they're definitely moving forward quite rapidly. If you want to catch up, well, start innovating and yes, start spending money. And in some cases, you will burn money as well, but at least they're not afraid to innovate and move to the next thing and make sure that, yes, this might be the next computing platform. Now, unfortunately for us Europeans, the Meta Ray-Ban display glasses will only be available to us in 2026. They will be available in the United States at the end of September. So we will have to wait a bit, and it's probably going to be way more expensive in Europe than it is in the United States. Moving on to Lyft and Waymo and Uber. Well, not really Uber, but how does this impact Uber? Well, we've had this announcement by Lyft and Waymo. So Lyft and Waymo announced a new partnership to bring Waymo's fully autonomous ride-hailing service to Nashville in 2026. As part of the partnership, Lyft will construct a purpose-built AV fleet management facility with charging and vehicle service capabilities. Waymo's AV will be supported by FlexDrive's industry-leading fleet management that maximizes uptime, ensures optimal performance, and reduces operational cost, delivering the consistent high-quality experience riders on both platforms expect, and Lyft, of course, owns FlexDrive. Now, when this was announced, Uber went down. But as I said in the live stream, this is actually not bad for Uber. Because the worst case scenario is that Waymo does not use Uber and Lyft at all, that Waymo launches everything alone. But here we have another example of Waymo trying new things, of Waymo trying to expand, but expand through these types of partnerships. We've seen that with Uber, we're seeing that with Lyft, we've seen that with other names as well, although there is a connection to Uber, especially in Miami, for example. So to me, this is, again, good news. This also shows me, by the way, that Waymo, which, by the way, Google owns, that Waymo is probably going to be available in all major World Cup locations for 2026, which, of course, will be quite good for visibility, first-time users of autonomous vehicles during the World Cup. And so this new collaboration will leverage Lyft's proprietary integrated fleet management services through its FlexDrive subsidiary, which will provide end-to-end fleet management, including vehicle maintenance, infrastructure, and depot operations for the Nashville fleet. Riders will have the opportunity to hail Waymo's fully autonomous vehicles first on the Waymo app, with plans to also dispatch its fleet on Lyft's network for matches rides later in 2026. So again, Waymo trying different things and see which one sticks. For now, the commentary that we've got from Waymo Uber is that, well, the results are quite good. And so overall, to conclude, that's about it. I do want to end by saying, and of course, some people will ask this, is it maybe time to sell, and when is it time to sell? Well, to be honest, it's obviously never a good time to sell good companies. But if you are low on cash, if you have names that are extremely stretched, you might want to take profits just to feel, let's say, more comfortable in case there is a pullback and you want to take the opportunity to buy more shares during a pullback. Then yes, taking profits might be a good idea. Me personally, right now, I'm happy with the cash position here. By the way, I still have a lot of cash from that Intel options play, which I might actually inject in this portfolio or just let it ride there. We'll see. But Right now, I'm in no rush to take profits in any of those companies at the moment. I still have my options play going on right now. But if you will feel more comfortable by taking profits and increasing your cash position, then nobody will blame you by doing so. Don't forget, it's your portfolio. Whatever you think is best for your portfolio, you should be doing. Should not be asking me or anyone else what's best for your portfolio. So, all in all, that's about it for me in this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, hit all the buttons. We'll see each other in the next one. Bye bye.